So this video is to expose Lyft and to show if you thinking about driving for Lyft, you might want to really look at this video right here. Now, if you look at this particular trip, they're paying $702. If you notice, there's a dollar bonus on this particular trip. So they would normally on this trip pay less money for this trip. In different times of day, they'll pay different amounts for the exact same trip, although they're charging the passenger the same amount or even more money. Now, the passenger paid more than $702. We don't get 100% of the fare. But this is a 19-minute trip, and it's a total miles 9.9 miles. Sorry, 7.9 miles. 702 divided by 7.9 comes up to 88 cents per mile. Or you can choose to look at it as time, which would be a payout of 702 divided by 19 minutes comes to 36 cents a minute. So again, as a driver, you have to choose, are you trying to make a profit based off of time or based off the miles of your car? Any driver out here would say the miles on the car, because cars depreciate, you have wear and tear, you have oil changes, tires you need to replace, all kinds of stuff, and you may have a car note while you're doing it. Here's another trip. As you can see, the total time that will be spent on this trip is 12 minutes. Also, don't forget that everybody's not standing outside ready to hop in your car. So you have a couple minutes that it may take for somebody to come out. We run across this issue a lot where we pull up and it's still people taking 3 or 4 minutes to come out. Now they're giving passengers 4 to 5 minutes after the driver arrives. Now, the thing that really sucks as a driver is if you're driving 8 minutes there's no way a person that booked this ride should be coming out 4 or 5 minutes later. Why are you booking rides before you get dressed, before you hop in the shower, or whatever the case may be, when you know in your market, usually you get a ride within about 10 to 15 minutes. A lot of times it's less time. The app is never correct. But looking at this trip, this is 12 minutes of time at $4.04, which comes to 33 cents. Or you could judge the trip by the total miles, which is 91 cents a minute. So again, when you hear me break this down, I'm giving you two sets of numbers. I'm giving you based off of time, or I'm giving you based off of miles. So when you look at these trips that Lyft is sending drivers, they'll charge you $15, $20 for a ride that they're paying the driver $3 or $4 for, $4 or $5 for. And that's where it's unsettling for the drivers, because we can't live off of that. We can't live off of that. Every mile that we're putting on our car, that's costing us money. We are not paid to pick up passengers. We do not get a dime for doing that. Now, some of the rides, it would say pay includes pickup, which is just a manipulation, because they're only giving you an extra 15 cents, even though you're actually driving 5 miles 5 miles more than usual, maybe 35 cents. Either way it go, it doesn't benefit you as a driver, because the total miles that you might put on your car for some of these trips may be 9 or 10 miles just so that you can make $4, maybe $5. Now, if you are a passenger or you are somebody thinking about driving for them, no, every trip doesn't pay out this little. Some trips pay out more. Now, I also want to show you a chart that I have. In this chart, basically, I accept rides based off of what I have on the chart. So if you notice, this is a 12-minute trip. So look at the top here. You see that it's estimated out to be in 38 cents per minute is what I usually accept the trips for. So 12 minutes, I would accept the trip if it's paying out $4.56 per minute. If you're wondering why I do it like that, I'll show you. And on this chart is based off of $22.80 an hour, and this is what you can see on the chart based off of $22.80. And also basically at the end of the year, total amount that I would make would be $83,210. This is why I declined so many trips, and I'm going to show you in the driver app how many trips I declined. This is 2024. As you can see right here, I rejected 7,477 trips is what I rejected. Now, I accepted 4,809 trips, and as you can see, it balanced out to a little bit over $1 per mile. If I would have just accepted every trip that they sent to me, then I would have made a hell of a lot less money and put more miles on my car. In the Toledo market, I had this one passenger. She was 12 miles away from me. This is back when I thought that our acceptance rate, if it gets too low, we could be deactivated. She was 12 miles away. I tried to message the lady and tried to get the lady to go ahead and cancel. I couldn't let my acceptance rate go down lower. This is, like I said, it's back when I thought that an acceptance rate mattered. You can have a 1% acceptance rate and they still are not going to deactivate you. They only deactivate you for a high cancellation rate, safety, or bad service. Those are the reasons why they will deactivate your account. Well, the lady wouldn't cancel, and she was saying, I've been waiting for an hour or whatever for a ride, everything. And I was just pissed. It had already been like a half an hour, and I said, screw it. I messaged the lady and I said, look, if you're not upset, I'll go ahead and I'll pick you up and everything. So I went out to pick up the lady. She gets in the car and she said, that is bad customer service. See, if you felt that way, you could have just said that you don't want to ride with me. You were rejecting the ride, but you're not going to cancel or anything like that. That's what the lady could have said. Instead of waiting until I get there, and now you're basically telling me that you're going to give me 1 star and that you may even lie and have me deactivated. And that's what ended up happening. The lady, I explained to the lady, I said, ma'am, it was a 12-mile pickup and you don't pay for pickup, and they're not going to pay me for pickup. So I'm going to be at a total loss. Now, you did offer the tip, but at the same time, you never asked, well, how much are you losing on a pickup? So that you can tip according to that, at least meet halfway. You never did that. You just said that you would tip. That could be $1, that could be $3, it could be 50 cents for all I know. So again, it was just too high of a risk. And this is a business, and profitability and how much you're making in an hour and everything, it is going to count. But again, I ended up getting deactivated, but I had a dash cam, and the lady must have didn't notice that I had a dash cam, and she ended up thinking that she was going to get me fired. No, you just agreed with Lyft that you're going to pay more money on your rides, because every time when a driver is blocked, whether you give them a low rating or the driver goes and they end up giving you less than 4 stars, it's going to read, don't match me with them again. Okay, so when drivers click on didn't wear a seatbelt, that is going to higher your prices on your rides. And a lot of drivers are unaware of that. But you have to also realize that they pay commercial auto insurance on rides. So a passenger who often doesn't wear the seatbelt is at higher risk of higher injuries on rides. So that's why Lyft will recalibrate their cost on their rides, as well as Uber does the exact same thing. You don't wear a seatbelt, you're at a higher risk, meaning that the insurance will have to pay out more money. So this is going to affect your prices on your ride. 14 minutes, the total of 6.7 miles. They're only paying out $5.15. And on the screen recording on this ride, after I ended the ride, this is a prime example. The passenger I gave a 1 star to. Don't match me with them again. So there is the additional proof that when drivers give you a low rating, then the drivers cannot pick you up again. And if they do click on the didn't wear a seatbelt, this can cause Lyft or Uber, whoever you're riding with, to charge you more money on your rides. Maybe 50 cents, maybe $1, maybe even $3 or $4, until somebody starts saying, okay, well, this passenger is now wearing their seatbelts on rides. You look at this ride right here, the total time it's going to take is 21 minutes, the total of 10.3 miles, only $7.15 to put 10.3 miles on your car. Now, if we just focus on the time, which is 21 minutes, lowest I can go is $7.98. And that's based off of 38 cents per minute. They couldn't even pay me 35 cents per minute for the total time that I'm going to spend driving. You can't even pay that much. This is why people have longer wait times. Crap like this. Like, come on, man. Most drivers would tell you that they don't want to accept anything that's lower than $2 a mile. And you can save for the total miles, but you're going to be sitting around not doing rides and not making any money if you're doing it like that. If you're just looking at the passengers' travel distance, then it's still not even likely that you're going to make $2 a mile in that case. If you look at the greater distance, which I've tried that one too, I'm only going to accept it if it's $1.40 per mile on the greater distance, or for the total distance that the passenger is traveling, or the pickup distance. Meaning that if it's a 5-mile pickup but an 8-mile drop off, then I'm going to need, to make $16 off of the ride. And that means that I had to overlook the miles that I'm putting on my car, driving to pass. Now, sometimes we get bonuses. So I can look at the bonuses at the end of the day, at the end of the year, and hopefully I end up balancing that out to where I'm making at least $1 per mile on the pickup distance. Just looking at bonuses. But most of these rides only are worth it because of the bonus that is added to the ride. Like, you're in an area where you get an extra $2 on the next ride that you accept, or a bonus hour. It's only worth it because of that. And most drivers, we don't see no more than 40 to 60 hours of bonuses throughout a 7-day period when it comes down to bonus hours. Now, if you want to drive during the day and you try to stay within an area that normally has bonuses, you can try to do that, but you're going to be looking at a really low acceptance rate. You're not going to be giving rides. And so ride challenge amounts, it's going to differ, and it's going to be low because they're not making any extra money off of the rides. They make their money, the most amount of money, off of longer distance trips. That's how they're making their money, or off of busy times where they're charging more money. But the amount that they have to be charging during those busy times has to be like $5 or $6 more than usual, while they're paying you the same amount. Now they might give you extra $2 towards one of your bonuses for the following week or the following month or whatnot. So all of this stuff is just jacked. Now, here on this trip, you're looking at the total of 18 minutes and a total of 7.9 miles you're going to put on your car for $7.15. So I'm going to look at my chart and see if, just based off of time, if they're going to be paying me enough on this particular ride, which is 18 minutes. So 18 minutes at 38 cents per minute, 18 minutes comes out to $6.84. So $6.84, and they're paying out $7.15. So yes, I could take this trip. Does this make any sense? Most drivers would tell you, especially YouTube drivers, $2 a mile, $2 a mile. So if they're only looking at the distance the passenger is traveling, which is the greater distance, they wouldn't accept this trip for less than $12 for this trip. Reason why I based everything off of time and not miles is because at the end of the year, I want to make sure that I'm making money and I'm taking money home and everything. So the average car is going to last about 3 years doing this. About 3 years. So in a 3-year time span, how much money are you going to make? If you're going to make enough money to purchase a new car, or at least 3 times or 4 times the amount of your particular car, based off of my chart that I have, which is based off of minutes, which is going to suck in most cases. Like, I'm not going to do an hour trip just to make $22.80. That's going to put about 40 miles on my car. Ain't no way I'm gonna do that. I have this chart measured out the way it is measured out. Am I going to do a 32-minute trip? Yeah, between pickup and drop off, I might end up doing that. I try to keep everything between pickup and drop off 30 minutes or less. And like I said, 83,000 in 52 weeks, that is not entirely bad. That is after gas expense, which, as you can see, in 3 years time, that's $246,000. This is why I stopped cherry picking the way that I was cherry picking, where I was trying to actually get at least $1.40 per mile on complete distance between pickup and drop off. But I realized really shortly afterward that I could spend 10, 12 hours online and only end up making $130. Yes, I'm keeping my miles in my car and I'm not going to be putting that much gas, but at the end of the year, how much money is still going to be left in my pocket is what I'm concerned about. Now, I know if some people may be looking at like, man, you making $82,000 a year or whatever. Yeah, but again, like I said, you have to be looking at the fact that you have costs to run this business. You have your gas. You have your maintenance costs. You have like your oil changes. You're going to need tires, quite often. You're going to need new brakes and rotors at least every single year. Maybe you can stretch it across 2 or 3 years, depending on how much real driving you're actually doing. And no, and honestly, at least not on my chart, you're not going to be able to stretch it across 3 years before you get new brakes and rotors. But again, like I said, you can do a chart yourself and figure out how much you want to make, because everybody's market is different. And this is why I don't like certain drivers that post videos on YouTube, because they're trying to give you advice and they're tell you how much you should be making per mile. You can't do that in every market. You can't do that in every market. You're going to be sitting around waiting a lot longer, and you're not going to be making money. At the end of the day, if you're doing this full time, you need to be making money. Even if you're doing this part time, you want to utilize your time and actually make money. So it doesn't make any sense to sit here and not be making any money and everything. So again, my chart, they're not even paying me according to my chart. I can't see myself going any less than 38 cents per minute. So again, when you're looking at the 38 cents per minute, I'm not going to have between pickup and drop off a 1 minute trip. You know, driving 1 mile, that's about at least 3 minutes minimum on 1 mile. So if a passenger is a half a mile away from me and they're traveling a mile, that's going to take me 3 minutes. All I need is $1.14, but Lyft is paying me $3 base fare for that ride. So again, I could do a trip up to 8 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes, when they're paying out $3, if it's going to take me 7 or 8 minutes. And the reason why I can still do that trip is because at the end of the hour, I'm going to make $22.80 based off of accepting trips like that trip. Every trip is going to pay out different. But what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I don't go up under the $22.80. And if you look on yesterday, as far as my earnings, as you can see, I have it lined up. It's February 12th right now, but yesterday, February 11th, if you look and you notice, I was making $27.92 an hour. I only drove in, it was less than 3 hours online time. You see it right there. It's 2 hours and 38 minutes. Book time was 2 hours and 23 minutes. And the total amount that I ended up making yesterday was $71.56 with the little bit of time that I did end up driving yesterday. So if you take that $71.56 and say I did a full 12 hours, then you have to multiply that by. So if I would have consistently kept accepting the rides that I did do yesterday, and I would have did a full 12 hours, I would have made around about $429. And that's just based off online time. The total trip time was 2 hours and 23 minutes. Total trips that I completed yesterday was 7 trips. Notice here in the green, I got bonuses on each one of those trips. And so, yeah, if I was getting bonuses on each one of these trips, and one had a $5 tip, if I was getting bonuses on each trip that I would have driven for all day yesterday, with an average, as you can see here, from $1 up to, $3.50, then yeah, I would have actually made over $400 yesterday by accepting the trips that met at bare minimum my criteria. Because what I did notice when I was online yesterday, I noticed that most of my trips, the amount that they were paying out, it was actually a little under. So I didn't get the exact amount or more. Well, some cases I did get more, but I didn't get the exact amount that I have based off of my chart. But as far as the rides that I did accept, it was at least close to that amount. So I didn't do bad by basing it off of this chart. But as you can see, I have a chart here. That one is based off of 38 cents. This one is based off of 45 cents. I usually use that chart when it's busy, or I'll use this one where it is 46 cents per minute. I have it written out here. Daily goal, $260, $40 for gas, $20 spending limit, $60 spending, $20 spending, and then the limit is max at $60 with the $20 spending and the $40 for gas. 60 times 30 days is $1,800, which leaves me with $200 a day times 30 days equals $6,000 a month minus $1,800 equals $4,200. Booked hour on average getting about 2166. You have to sometimes pause and see, meaning go offline and see where you're at for the day. See where you're at for the day. Are you hitting your target? Go offline, see if you're hitting your target, and you have to adjust yourself. Okay, so I know that in my market, the money is basically where you see in the shaded area. This is where the money is in my market. This is where the money is. Okay, you're gonna have short distance pickups inside of this area. If you go over here across the bridge, you're gonna have a longer distance pickups. You go too far west, longer, and up here towards the border, it can be longer pickup distance between rides. Because like I said, all the rides are normally picking up in this area here. But some people are traveling outside of the area. I know that I could do good if I keep my pickup distance between 3 and 3. 3 miles on a pickup, 3 to 4 miles on a drop off. I know I can stay within that area, and anytime I accept a ride and the drop off is here, I want to take a ride that is getting me back into my area. So in other words, study your market. Study your market where they're usually showing bonuses at different times of day. Keep you a chart, keep you a notepad, and make sure that you're putting, okay, well, east is where it's often showing the most amount of bonuses. West during at nighttime, or north or south in certain times of the day. So you can accept trips going here or there by making sure that you know what time of day it is and everything. Like, we know what time a lot of factory workers go to work. We know what time, fast food workers, other people go to work. And those are where it's going to be as busy as times. When it's slow out, to go around a hospital area or around clinics, because people have insurance and they're normally taking trips and everything. It doesn't help you for your rating because the insurance company booked the ride. And so it's not going to help on your rating, and you're probably not going to get a tip. I like riding with older people. One, it's safe. Number two, older people, a lot of times they do tip you, cash tips and everything, but sometimes they don't. Only thing you need to do is greet them, see if they need any assistance. It doesn't take you much time to open up the door and say, hey, ma'am, do you need any assistance? And 9 out of 10, they're going to say, no, I'm fine. And helping them get out, making sure you ask them if they need any help getting outside of the car. You can also ask them that. So again, sometimes it can resort to tips, but a lot of times it won't. People are on fixed income, so they're not going to go in their pocket to give you any money. And please, if you are a driver and you get a passenger who is an insurance trip, and that passenger asks you, how much do I owe you? Please do not lie. Do not lie and say X amount of dollars. You're going to get deactivated, or at least you should get deactivated. These older people, they don't know that their insurance company paid, or that they don't have to pay half the fare or nothing like that. I'm just hoping I don't ever run into somebody that say that they had paid a driver out of pocket. It's weird when I do have passengers, when I notice that they had 40 or 50 rides and stuff, and they're asking me that question. I'm curious if drivers are out here telling people, well, oh, this amount or whatever. I mean, hopefully y'all not doing that. But anyway, hopefully you have taken some of this as advice and everything, if you made it this far in the video. So you can make a chart, or you can just look here where it says $23.83 an hour, which means that if you accept rides like this in an hour, then you'll come out to about $23.83, on your rides. But honestly, I think it's better for you to just go off your chart. But if you want to go off of this right here, you're going to do pretty good by going off of this number. If your goal is $20 an hour, only accept trips that are showing an estimated hourly of $20-something. But you need to also make sure that you're driving when it's a busy time. In other words, what you want to do is click on menu right here, and then you want to click on the tier, and you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, hit learn more, and then you're going to get your busy and earnings hours. These are the times that when you drive, they're paying a little bit more, and there may be bonuses being offered in certain areas where you may drive at, which is the purple shaded areas. So I'm just going over this part because there are people who don't, they just started or they're thinking about driving here, and I'm going to give you some more examples real. This trip here, Lyft is paying $3.17. The total time would be 12 minutes. The total miles would 4.4 miles. So keep in mind, 12 minutes. So if I'm using my 38 cents a minute chart, 456, I should have to turn down that ride. 12 minutes using my, this is my 45 cents a minute chart. So even on this one as well, this is going to be 540. So yes, I would have to turn down that ride. You can look here, $5.16. This ride, it's going to take 14 minutes. It's going to take me, 7.2 miles to finish this trip. They were paying $5.16, 14 minutes. I need $6.30. The other sad part about this trip is that it says pay includes pickup. It says pay includes pickup for this particular trip, and they're still paying less than what I need to recover to make this a profitable trip. So as a driver, what doesn't make much sense. Now, again, if you're close to this particular passenger, the total amount that they would pay out on this ride would be about $3. That's what they would pay out for this particular ride. If I was like a mile away, 2 miles, 3 miles, even 4 miles away, they would only pay me $3 for this particular trip. So they're paying me $2.16 more because I'm 6.4 miles away. But you're still not paying me enough to even do this trip. And considering the total amount of miles that I'm going to have to put on my car, which is 7.2 miles, why would I do this trip? It makes absolutely no sense mathematically, logically, or any other type of way. It doesn't make any sense to take this particular trip, but it's outside of what I try to accomplish. Now, here's the thing. It does say 21.11. 22.11 is the estimated hourly rate. Now, what would help me as a driver, if I knew or I could trust Lyft, that they're going to connect me with another rider and another rider and another rider, and then that hour I would make 22.11, then yeah, I would go ahead and I would accept the trip, because I know that that particular hour I'm going to end up making 22.11. If it said $38, if I accept this trip, then every trip that hour, it's going to balance out to where I'm going to make $38. Now, in cases like that, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll take the trip because I know that they got something lined up. They got some work lined up for me. That's how you operate as independent contractors. You're going to accept something because there's something coming out of that particular job. Like if you were a carpenter and you're going, you got somebody that needs some work done on their house, but they also said, hey, I got this person over here, my neighbor needs this work done. You go and quote both of them, and now you're going to discount either their friend or their friend or their neighbor or whatever, or you're going to discount them because they gave you a referral. So if we knew this was what was going to happen, we probably would actually accept these trips based off of what we're seeing on the estimated hourly amount. But I can't trust that that's going to happen. Like on this particular trip, this person was being dropped off over near the college campus area. So it's not that bad of a trip. By the time I picked them up and dropped them off, I'm going to have a connecting ride more than likely, I guess. But because it was AM in the morning, I knew that was very slim to no chances at all. It was like 2 a.m. So you don't know where your rides are going to come from at that time of night. And so that's why this particular trip doesn't make sense to take. As you can see, I made a mistake and I accepted the trip. I said my app is frozen. I'm not able to navigate towards you. This person was talking about please don't cancel or anything like that. And you know, my thing is that if I need a ride, I'm gonna be looking at my wallet to see if I got cash on me. You know, I'm not gonna tell somebody I'm gonna tip them. And this person didn't say that they were gonna tip me, which is cool. Because they didn't say that they were gonna tip me and everything and whatnot, then they're not trying to bait me or anything like that. I tried calling the passenger, and I'm not sure, but I want to say that this particular trip, I think that this person updated the, I think they updated their drop-off load. No, they added the stop in there. I don't know if it was this one. I know it was a trip last night that did happen, so I'm going to have to check the video and everything. But it looked, you know, like I said, I did accept the trip. I know it was a trip like this where I messaged somebody and, or they messaged me and it was just some bull crap. Yep, this was that trip. They